Hi, everybody. This is Paola Lázaro. I play Gomez on Obliterated and Princess on The Walking Dead, and you are watching Pop Culture with Pat.
Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. So I am beyond excited to be talking to today's guests. You know her from a number of different projects, including where she played Princess on The Walking Dead, played Gomez in Netflix's Obliterated. Paola Lázaro, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Really excited to talk to you.
Well, thank you for having me, Pat. We've been trying to make this happen for a while, so I'm glad that we're finally sitting down and doing this. And
Yes.
and it's awesome that I met you 2 years ago. That is so random. Anyway,
Yeah. No, it was really cool too that, yeah, like we said, it was like one of your first cons. So that's
yeah.
cool to know that, that was the case. So yeah, I mean, I got a bunch of questions for you. I loved you on the Walking Dead, but the
Thank you.
show Obliterated on Netflix, I I saw the trailer, but I guess that wasn't even like a hint at what to was come, like when you actually sit down and watch the show, with just like how crazy and ridiculous it gets. So I'm curious for you, you play Gomez in the show. What was your reaction to your character when you were first, reading the scripts and things like that?
I gotta say, like, it's very hard to shock me. Like, I feel like I have a pretty good meter of like craziness that I've lived through or seen or experienced with other people around me. And it's really kind of hard to shock me. But this show shocked me at at every corner, like left and right. I was just like, oh no, we're not doing that. We are doing it. We are definitely doing it, and we're committing to it, and we're gonna do it wholeheartedly. Um, so it was definitely shocking, and in a way super liberating too. I keep saying like being on the show was like being in an adult playground with a bunch of old adults being free and being able to act like kids. It was just liberating. But it definitely was shocking a lot of the time, yeah.
Oh yeah, initially I imagine. And yeah, it's one of those things like just as each episode was going on, you're just like, what, like, where else can this show go? Like, what else could happen? That because there's just left and right different things happening, and you're just like, whoa, they just like you said, they just did that. I can't believe they did
Yep.
that. So I imagine like, yeah, initially seeing it, you're like, oh, okay, like let's go ahead and do this. Uh,
And oh, sorry, Pat.
oh
No, I
no,
was just gonna say we didn't have all of the scripts when we
yeah.
started, so they slowly start coming in, and so slowly you're at home, like after filming all day, you're at home and you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to see what happens next. But it just kept making me laugh and just like, I can't believe we're doing this. But we were all so game for it. It was so fun.
What was it? So was it that initially made you go, I need to be a part of this project when you were initially, auditioning for the role? Or was there anything else that you saw that you're like, I need to, this is something that I want to be a part of?
Um, well, I definitely fell in love with the character. I love the character. She's tough, yet vulnerable and tough again.
Oh yeah.
Um, but there was something about this type of comedy that I hadn't seen in a really long time. I think it reminded me of Police Academy, which I loved. It reminded me of Airplane a little bit.
Yeah.
It reminded me of American Pie. It reminded me of The Hangover. And there was something that I was like, I felt like the world needed a bit of levity in that sense and a little bit of joy and ridiculousness, and to have a little bit of fun and not take things so seriously. Although there's a lot of things to take serious right now in the world, but it was the breath of fresh air that really drew me into it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, you're so right with that too. It's honestly, it's kind of, sad because I feel like we don't get as many of these kind of type of comedies. I like it's not completely a comedy. It's got action, it's got drama and everything, but we don't get a lot of those comedies really as much anymore. And I really like myself, you said American Pie. It's like I grew up watching those films. Some of the other films like as well, but it's like just with like how crazy and ridiculous they were. So it's like I
Right.
really miss those type of things. So I think that's why I connected with this project so much because it was just so much fun.
Yeah, definitely for our generation, it was more, American Pie and Hangover and all that stuff. But when you look back, like, what my parents used to watch, Police Academy, like,
Yep.
um, and from our generation too, but like way earlier was like Ace Ventura, that
Yep.
freedom to play a crazy character and to do crazy things. I don't know, I miss that. I miss that. And so reading these scripts was like, oh, okay, we get to have fun here. We get to let loose, you know?
Yeah, I imagine it must have been like probably like one of the funnest sets to like work on just because
Oh yeah.
of just like the ridiculous stuff that you guys were getting to do
hmm
each episode. So, I was kind of saying like this show has a little bit of everything. It has comedy, it
Right.
has drama, action. What aspect of the series was most challenging for you as an actor? And then what part would you say was the most fun to do? It sounds like maybe like the comedy bits, but
Um, challenging definitely is like the nudity and stuff like that. That's scary, at least for me because I had never done anything like that. So that was terrifying, but I felt so at peace and comfortable. We had a great intimacy coordinator, um, intimacy choreographer. We had incredible directors and incredible showrunners that made it feel like a super safe space. Um, but yeah, it's definitely terrifying at first, like super terrifying, you
yeah,
know?
especially if you've never done anything like that before.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in another challenge, there's a lot of physicality. There's a
Yeah.
lot of physicality, but
Yep.
that's like a welcome challenge. We were all so game for that stuff, and I feel like we're all, you know, trained for that stuff. We worked out for that stuff, and we trained with our Navy SEAL, who was there on set every day. But definitely challenging to learn. He trained us before we filmed, so he would do like we would walk into a room together, and he would show us how to tap each other in the back and how to make sure to hold the gun and clear a room and go through like a whole like hallway and different rooms, making sure that like nobody in your group would get killed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that was challenging because I wanted to do it justice. I wanted to do justice to the people who actually risked their lives. So I didn't want it to look uh like fake or whack or like we weren't taking it seriously. So Kevin Kent, who was our Navy SEAL trainer, um, he would see me get frustrated because he'd be like, stop, and I'd be like, what? And he'd be like, all your team just died because of your one mistake, and I was like, ah. And I was like, okay, let's do it, and then it would make us work harder, and but that was definitely challenging. And in terms of the fun stuff, I mean, everything was just, you know, the camel. Like, when else am I gonna hang out with a camel like that? And her name, she's actually a female camel. I don't know if you know that.
I
Um,
don't, yeah, no, I don't think I
yeah,
had heard that.
in the show, the camel's name is Joseph, like Joey, but
Yep.
in real life, her name is Skittles, and she's 27 years old,
Oh, wow.
and she is so cute, and you have to be quiet around her. So like we would be filming the scenes, and then when they said cut, people start talking and stuff like that, but you couldn't do that around her because they get nervous.
Mhm.
um but she was so tender. That was it would anytime we did any scenes with Skittles was like, you felt like you were in Animal Kingdom, just like
Yeah, how often
cheesing
are you
out.
gonna get to do that?
Yeah, it was awesome. And she peed. Sorry, I got to tell you this.
Oh, no, no.
We were doing a semi-serious scene. Well, actually, no, a pretty serious scene when I think it's episode 6 or 7, when the new agent comes in and tells Winters like, "Hey, we're taking over. You
Yep.
guys effed it up, whatever." And that's when Nick says the camel was free to make it his own choices, whatever. So we were filming that scene, and we're all like standing there serious because that guy is dissing us. And all of a sudden, in the background is Skittles, and all you hear is like And I look back and like Skittles had peed everywhere.
Oh no.
But they didn't say cut, so we're all like,
You
it
guys
was
just have
it. I mean, filming with a
that's
camel. It was just awesome,
that's hilarious. And
awesome.
it's kind of ironic that you said that, you guys had to be very quiet around her, just, obviously where, could get nervous and stuff like that.
Right.
But you're saying being quiet on a show like this, that is like just like the complete opposite of being quiet
I
with all
know,
the crazy stuff
I
happening.
know.
But yeah, I mean, it's so cool when you get to do something that, you've never done before. And it's like, how many times am I going to get to work with, a camel like on
A
set? So
27-year-old female camel.
yeah. So that's awesome. So I mean,
Great.
we kind of like hinted at that the show has so many WTF moments throughout the
Yes.
series. What was the biggest WTF moment for you that you personally were like, I can't believe that we're actually doing this? There's so many, so I know it's probably kind of hard to
Yeah,
to go through, but
there are so many. Definitely like when when in the party bus, um, we like not we don't crash, but like the party bus is like ah, and Ava falls on the floor, and then Haggerty falls on top of her with like his like erection. That was one of the moments, and I was like, we are not doing this. Oh yeah, we are.
oh yeah.
And us laughing so hard when all of this was happening. And that scene, Shelly is so good at that those comedic moments where she's like, "Get him up!" Like the absolute lunacy. And of course, the pee when she's peeing in the Pringles bottle
Oh
and the
my
pee
God.
falls on my face, and then Haggerty falls, and then Nick falls from the helicopter, and then the pee again. Um, those are just two of the many
Oh yeah.
WTF moments, many of them.
Like we are not kidding, guys. Watching the series, it's just I mean, just in one episode alone, the number of moments where you're like, holy crap, like I can't believe that just happened. I'm not kidding. There was moments where I was like gut like laughing so hard. It had been a little while. I think I had saw a movie this past year called Bottoms that came out. It was a little kind of limited
I'm gonna
release,
write that down.
but I think you would actually appreciate it because it kind of is like a throwback to like 90s, 2000s
Uh-huh.
raunchy comedy. So yeah, definitely check that out. I think
Bottoms. Okay.
you would appreciate it. But yeah, just I hadn't laughed that hard in a while in this series.
Right.
I was just like, I'm sure people are listening to me like, watching the show and they're probably like, what is so damn funny?
I know, but it trust me, it is. And if you let yourself, take if you let yourself be taken over by the show and go on the fun ride, and um it's really enjoyable,
Oh yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I agree right there with you. And we kind of talked about this a little bit already, but I wanted to like ask you about as far as a character like this. I feel it's something where you really have to throw yourself into this character and just kind of, go with the flow. And you guys get put into some vulnerable, positions, at times, like you had, talked about. This was like your first time doing any kind of like nude scenes or anything.
Hmm.
So can you just talk about the importance of having a safe set where you guys, you can be put into
Right.
these different positions and feel comfortable, like do as comfortable as
Yeah.
possible doing them?
I mean, I think it comes from the bottom, from the top down, when you have three creators like John Hurwitz, Josh Shield, and Hayden Schlossberg, you're in good hands. Those are very caring people, very funny also, but also very respectful um, of all of us, women and men in on set. And that episode where I, showed, my breasts, or um, that was directed by Josh Shield. And man, what a respectful human being to work with, and just made it feel very safe, super professional, because those moments can be so vulnerable for us,
Yeah.
and so not just vulnerable, scary and dangerous in a way,
Yeah.
but they really made it so that and even the background people that were there and everything just made it so like everybody was on the same page about being respectful about what was going on. And the intimacy coordinator Christine was fantastic. That would be a good interview to do because she knows her stuff, and she's very specific and very by the book, but also knew how to speak to us in a way that we understood.
Yeah.
Like I did my first take of that moment, and I was just freaking out. I was like, oh, I was so
Oh, I
nervous,
imagine.
and she knew exactly what to say to me to be like, "You're okay." I won't say what she said,
Yeah.
but she knew how to speak to us. She knows how to speak to us, and they really did make a very. It really did make for a very safe set. The directors and the writers and Christine
And that
and
just
our
makes it,
castmates. Our castmates. I don't know if you've interviewed any of them, but they are. We were all game and very respectful of each other.
yeah, and that just makes it so much more easier for you guys just having being in that kind of like environment where you feel, safe being there and doing these different things. So I think that's, it's super important on every single set, but specifically
Yeah.
for different situations like this for sure. Um, I
Especially when it's not just a drama where like there is nudity, but this is a you know sexual
yeah,
comedy, so that those lines can get blurred between like, oh, joking around and stuff like that. But I never felt uncomfortable on this set. It was very like, this is this and that's that. It was very nice to be a part of.
yeah, and to be like you said, working with someone, you said her name was Christine,
Her name was Christine. Yeah.
that just working with someone that who's done it for for such a long time that knows just
Yeah.
exactly what to say to you guys and how to
Hmm.
get everything set up. So yeah,
Absolutely.
that's super important.
Yeah.
One of my favorite scenes for you with Gomez when you're in the desert with Maya and you give
Hmm.
the pep talk to her, kind of saying like, hey, you can do this. um
Right.
who I'm curious for you, who's been the Gomez for you in your life when you have needed it?
Oh, wow, what a great question, Pat.
Thank you.
Really good question. I think my brother Gabriel, um, he's always been like the cut and dry person. Like, I'm tough myself because of him and because I grew up with two brothers and I was like the baby. But he is, you know, like I remember like I was in a relationship and it wasn't going well, and there was like a breakup, and he's like, consider him dead. And I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, you have to consider that he died. Like, he didn't die, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's like, está muerto, está muerto. And I was like, oh. And he's like, no, no, no. Like, just mourn it, go through the mourning stages, but that's done. That's done. And I just the way he said it like that, I just remember being like, oh, oh, but it was helpful at
Yeah.
that time because it was like, oh, there is no hope for that situation. That situation is done,
Yep.
and that enables you to move forward. But he's definitely the Gomez in my life. He's definitely the person that I can call, and they'll be like, yeah, no, that's not happening. I'm like, yeah, but this person did this, and like, maybe we can give them a chance. He's like, no,
Nope.
it's done. I'm like, okay. And then he says it in Spanish, which is even like more intense. Se acabó, se acabó. Eso se acabó. El tipo está muerto. Like, you're like, bye.
But I
But yeah,
mean,
that's my Gomez.
but I mean, you definitely need those people in your life because it's like, yeah, sometimes you're like, oh, well, maybe, yeah, like you said, maybe you give this person another chance, and sometimes you just need that. It's like, nope, that's it.
Yep.
Like, move on to the next thing, and
Yeah. And it's
everyone
not to
needs a
be
Gomez in their life.
right. It's not to be ruthless, like,
No,
or mean to anyone, but it's also like sometimes we have to step in for each other and be like, no, Pat, that's harming you. That can no longer happen,
yep,
So a Gomez like that is, and also a person who was willing to tell you the truth when, like when Maya goes like, I was born ready. And going to like, no, you weren't. No, you were not. But then she uplifts her, and she's like, listen, you're stronger than you think you are.
Yep.
That's it. Um, you can do more than you think you can do, and you got to allow yourself to go there.
Yeah, there
But
was
yeah,
definitely some
that's
comedy in the scene, but like at the same time, yeah, like you said, it was able to like uplift her, and later on in the series, she's able to kind of work through different
yeah.
situations where she might not have had the confidence, to do that, beforehand.
Right,
So
right.
it's definitely got its laughs, but it serves as like a serious scene, and like you said, yeah, I think everyone needs a Gomez in their their life at some point for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, sorry, before we move on, I just want to say like it's a testament to the three writers and to Bob Dearden actually who wrote that episode. It's a testament to these creators how they can add vulnerability and heart to these scenes. Because I'm a writer originally. That's that was what I did for my master's and everything. That's how I got into acting, and that's not easy to do. It's not
No.
easy to have multidimensional characters that can be really, really tough in one moment, and then all of a sudden, like show like a little bit of softness, and not have it be out of character. It's actually all encompassing in that character. So I just wanted to
Yeah.
give a shout out to that.
No, I know, and that's a great point that you brought up because I was going to say that sometimes if you have like a serious scene, for example, and all of a sudden you just like kind of throw in some random comedy bit in there just to kind of throw in some comedy, it can just completely undercut that scene because you're like, oh, we were having this really serious moment, and now that's just kind of like deflated because we had this like random joke in there for for no reason.
It
So
feels
it's
out of character,
yeah, you really
but
have
they
to
know how to navigate
balance
those
that.
moments. Yeah,
Yeah, I thought that they handled, not only just like in that episode, but like yeah, throughout the season as
yeah,
well. Everything was really balanced, which is yeah, it's really tough to do. Um,
absolutely.
one of my favorite aspects of the show is just the chemistry between all of you guys, in the series. It really felt like a family
Yeah.
unit. So can you just talk about kind of developing that family unit with everyone or dynamic with everyone on the show and just some of your favorite memories from working with them on the series?
Um, I didn't know any of them, any of the cast from before. Yeah, I knew one guy, but not from the core
Yeah.
team. I didn't know any of them, and I think there was a there was a perfect connection there because once you said yes to auditioning for this, you read the sides, and if you said yes to auditioning for it, it meant you were game. And if you said yes to doing the show, to accepting the role, it meant you were absolutely game. So when we all got to Albuquerque, we all knew that we were on the same boat. We weren't, we weren't doing a dramatic show. This wasn't I don't know, this wasn't 6 feet under or anything like that. This was a raunchy comedy action. We are, all have been training since we got the roles, like with trainers and stuff like that. So this was like we all gave ourselves to these roles. And so when we got together, we were all game, and I got to tell you, we all got along. It was awesome. It
Yeah.
was really, and that's another thing that comes from the top down. Um, the three creators just made us feel very safe and just good energy. Those three guys, just good energy, fun, and also like hardworking. They were always there. So we were all in this together. We were all sweating the same amount. We were all jumping and kicking and fighting and fake blood and throwing ourselves in the helicopter and getting, the guns and everything. We were all doing the same thing. So there was like a camaraderie there. There was a really big group effort there.
Yeah, you would never know that you guys didn't know each other, prior to going into the series. Because, like I said, it
Yeah,
really felt like you were a seasoned unit that had been doing these missions
right.
for a while. So I think that's it's a testament to everybody involved with the project. Writing these great
Right.
characters, but then just you guys just clicking like instantly.
Absolutely.
What would do you have like even like behind the scene moments, do you have like any like moments that just like stick out to you when you think of your time like working on the series?
Behind the scenes moments that stick to me from working on the series. Well, I had never been to Vegas, and
Oh,
I
there you
spent
go.
a whole month in Vegas. That was enough for me for a while. Um, let me see. Let me see.
I feel like it would be almost like tough to like if anything crazier like any funny stories you guys behind the scenes than what happened like on the series because this stuff is just so so ridiculous. But
I mean, we would hang out on the weekends, definitely. We went up to Santa Fe in like a little party bus once,
oh,
and that
nice.
was really fun. That was a great experience to get to know everybody better. Um, what else? What else?
And you guys
I
are like,
went to
we
do
did
this.
this in the show. The
Exactly,
party bus.
exactly. Um, a little less crazy in real life than actually on the show. Um, but we also I also went to do the zip line before we shot that, and that was a really cool experience. I went with the stud people, um, just to practice and get it done. And that was a really cool experience. We filmed that scene. It was like 2 in the morning, so we ended up finishing at like 4 in the morning. It was cold up there,
Oh,
I gotta
wow.
tell you. It
I
was cold
imagine.
up there, but it was really cool to film because so there's like three zip lines there that go parallel. So the cameraman was on one of them, and I'm on the other one, and so we had to do it a bunch of times because we had to figure out he weighed more by himself, and also he weighed more with the camera.
Yep.
So when we would both go down at the same time, he would go way faster, so then he couldn't really see me in the shot, and I'm behind because I'm lighter. Um, and so we had to figure out to throw him first. We had to figure out the perfect balance of like, okay,
Time.
after zero point 0.5 seconds or 1.5 seconds, we throw Paula, you know? I mean, that was just like, those are dreams come true to be able to play like that. And with such awesome people, it was a dream come true, really, the show.
That was one of the scenes that I was curious about like how that all worked because I was like that must have been because it looked pretty high up. So I was
It
like that
is.
looked like it must have been like slightly. I mean, if you're good with heights, like it might not. I'm not. I can do heights to a level, and I've
Me too.
done some zip lining, but it's like I'm not someone that goes on like every single roller coaster when you go to like an amusement park or anything like that. There's certain ones where I'm like,
I do.
nah, that's too much for me. So watching that scene, I was curious like how that filming all that works. So
Yeah,
you were
that's
like actually up there flying.
Oh yeah, there's an actual zip line on Fremont Street that you can go and do when if you go to Vegas. And oh yeah, we were up there. We were up there, and the cameraman was up there with his camera, like flying through, and I'm behind him, and we did it a bunch of times, and it was just so fun. But it is scary at first, but
Oh
then
yeah.
you're like, okay, I'm up here, might as well make the best of it, you
Yeah, it's
know?
like again, it's one of those things where it's like how many times. I mean,
Right.
like I know there's zip lines like other parts of like the world and throughout the country too, but it's how many times you're gonna get to do this, flying
And
through
on
that
top
area.
of people in Vegas, in the middle of
Yeah,
Vegas, like
exactly.
while while filming a TV show.
Yep. Yeah, I'll say you
Yep.
won't be able to do that, like too often. So I
Right.
wanted to, even though for the most part we've been talking about Obliterated, I also loved your portrayal of Princess in The Walking Dead. So I kind of wanted to
Thank
to
you.
tie in a couple things, into The Walking Dead for you as well.
Absolutely.
How did, if any way, how did you think playing a character like Princess kind of helped prepare you for a role like Gomez?
Obviously they're like super different, but I think something that really helped from Walking Dead is an action show too. There's a lot of action horror show. Um, and a lot of the stunts we did on Walking Dead, a lot of the fight scenes with the zombies, a lot of the like run and slide underneath this thing and hide from this and that. A lot of that helped me with having some training on those on the physicality level
Yep.
for Obliterated. And I think, you know, Princess is obviously very different, and she's like 37 things at once. She's like excited, and then she's like, excuse me. And then she's like, I'm so sorry. No, but really, what did you say? And she's like, oh yeah, what's up? So she's
Such
all
a
of
great
those
character.
things. But thank you. But one of those things is this, is what did you just say to me? Which helped me for Gomez, because Gomez is much more like she's stiller. She's much, she's not the class clown
All over the place.
like Princess. But I always like to say that Princess was who I was when I was 7 years old. I was a class clown, and I was always getting in trouble and trying to make people laugh. So Princess has always been that part of me, and then Gomez is more who I am now. You know, tough, but also like super sweet. But maybe people don't know that I'm sweet. Which is always so shocking to me that it's like I guess something about my face is like, you
Intimidated by
know,
you?
yeah, yeah, a lot of people don't fuck with me. I gotta tell you, I'm sorry,
You're good. No worries.
but a lot of people don't. They just they kind of like respect me. I don't know
I
what
mean,
I have in my
it's a
maybe
good
like I
thing to
have
have sometimes, though.
absolutely, absolutely. But people are pretty nice. But yeah, Gomez, I think is more like who I am now. Tough, but also with like a super vulnerable side and multidimensional in that aspect.
That's really
Yeah,
cool though
definitely.
that you got to play, obviously you've done like other roles besides these two, but like those were like you said, they were two different points of your life. So
Life.
those characters. So that's pretty cool. You got to play characters that were like that, those aspects of you.
Yeah, it's wild. It's really weird. And I've realized the thing about Princess me being me like when I was 7, but I didn't realize how Gomez is more like me now. Um, or who I was like 2 years ago or 1 year ago.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
say you're always growing.
they're
So
always evolving, right?
yep.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm curious, what your thoughts would be if there was a team up where we had Princess and Gomez working together. How do you think that would go?
Oh God, that's a great question too, Pat. You're hitting hard and good questions. Oh God. Oh God, my brain might explode thinking about this. Uh, oof.
That would be a team up.
Ah,
I would love to see just like
yeah,
the chemistry between those characters.
yeah. I think at first Goins would be like, "Can you like chill out?" Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what's your name? Princess? You fucking with me, right? Okay, Princess. Cool. Can you calm the fuck down? Like that would be like Gomez at first, and then Gomez would be like, "Okay, yeah, I guess you're all right. Okay, but you chill out, chill out, and do this. This is just follow me. That's all you got to do." And then they would like start working together, and Prince would be like, "Okay, okay, you want me to do like this? Do I hold it like this or like that? You know?"
Every now and
But
then she would still get on Gomez's nerves, I think.
oh, absolutely, absolutely,
That
absolutely, she has to.
that's a pretty accurate portrayal. Now, like now you doing that right there, I think that's like a pretty accurate description of like what I think that would how that would play out.
Absolutely,
So that
it would be very, very. Yeah, it's that's such a good question, man.
that's amazing.
Wow.
Obliterated. So like we talked about the comedy aspect, where it's kind of like a throwback to some of these older, like
Hmm.
movies like, American Pie, Airplane, things like that, Police Academy. But it's also a throwback to like the 80s, 90s action films, as well. Like at one
Yeah.
point, we even see a tribute to Sylvester Stallone, which I thought was amazing.
Oh yeah.
Who were some of your favorite action heroes growing up that you looked up to, or just like films that you watched growing up?
Action heroes that I grew up watching. Trying to think who was like, I
You're
don't
like,
know. I was,
gotta have
what's that?
probably Stallone in there, I'd say.
Well, the thing is, I hadn't seen Rocky until like 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Well, I grew up in Puerto Rico, so not that Rocky wasn't big in Puerto Rico, but Rocky was before my time, and
Yeah.
so I didn't really get to experience that. And I saw it like 2, 3 years ago, and I was like, what? I was like, why? I was like sobbing. I was like, why haven't I seen this before? It's become instantly one of my favorite films. Um, what was I gonna say? I'm trying to think. Action. That's tough. That's tough. I'm trying to think because, I
What about like Arnold,
Arnold like,
Schwarzenegger?
oh, I thought you meant Hey Arnold. And I was
Oh,
like, wait.
I
Um, Arnold Schwarzenegger,
love
I
Hey
mean,
Arnold
of
too.
course. Oh, of course. Arnold Schwarzenegger, yes, definitely. Trying to think what other shows I watched that. Wow, that's a tough one. I got to think about that, Pat.
Action base.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Maybe mention some from like the 90s, 2000s, but
Yeah, I was saying, I mean, yeah, there's and actually speaking of like Rocky 2, real quick, I just, rest in peace, Carl Weathers, just
oh,
from
yes.
the other day. Very sad that, we lost him. I actually got to meet him a couple of years ago when I was at
Yeah.
Boston. So very, very thankful I got to meet him. I mean, he was
Yeah.
another great
He was in
action
everything.
star too. Yeah, he was. I mean, it was everything action to even to Happy Gilmore. So I mean,
Right. What a
comedy.
career. We
Yeah.
were just talking, we were training at the gym today and we were actually talking um about him and my boyfriend said that's what a career. Like
Oh
I,
yeah.
you know, anyone would kill to have a career like he had and um I mean a legacy like that and to be part of the some of the most awesome films ever. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? It's like, you know, yeah,
That's all you can
rest in
hope for
peace, man.
as an actor. To be part of roles in
Oh,
films or film series that touch fans like that, and you've gotten to
cult
be a part
classics.
of some like yourself like already so far in your career. So I imagine
Oh, thank you.
because obviously like The Walking Dead such a huge fan base,
Right.
but I'm always going to remember Gomez from Obliterated too. So.
Right. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I had a really good time on both of those sets.
Now, so I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff that happened in the show. We've kind of talked about that. What was the thing as far as like I guess like physically that like
Hmm.
challenged you most as an actor? Was there anything? I know you kind of talked about training, with the Navy SEAL and stuff like that. Was there like
Right.
a particular scene that like really challenged you the most, like physically?
Oh yeah. It's the scene at the gym moment where like I'm at the compound or like the mansion and I have a crossbow and
Oh, yeah.
I'm like telling Winters through with the comms, I'm like I'm stuck in the gym.
Yep.
And I look back and that machine is like, "Hey, welcome to the workout. You ready?" And I'm like, ugh. um, that day was a tough one. Because those fight scenes were really hardcore.
That
And
was a badass fight scene though. So
yeah, I mean there was even more that was supposed to be in there, but it was a rough night that night. A lot of physicality, and a lot of like big stunts that some of which are in there and some are not. Uh, but that definitely was tough. And I wear these like boots on the show that are they're Doc Martens, but they're called Jaden Maxes. So they're like I think they weigh like 3 pounds each.
yeah, so heavy.
They're like thick. The
Yeah.
bottom is thick. So doing stunts with those shoes and going through the desert with those shoes and doing all those running scenes with those shoes, that was definitely a tough one. Next time I will make sure that I'm not wearing 3 pound shoes.
You're like, after this, I'm not wearing not going to be touching anything remotely close to this for a little while.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. I was just like, oh yeah, it'll be fine, you know. And it was, but you know,
But next time,
shoot.
you'll definitely think
Oh yeah,
twice before doing
I
wearing those.
definitely will. Yeah. Hmm. And I have
Well,
those in real life. And
I,
I had those in real. I still have those in real life, and I got them before the show. And now I very seldomly wear them. I
I was
see
gonna,
them in the closet, and I'm like PTSD. I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm like every once in a while, if I'm going to a place where like mostly I'll be sitting down, not a lot of walking, I'll wear them. But I'm
that's
still
what
terrified.
I was gonna ask you. Is that something like have you like worn them at all since like the show? So very seldomly, you said.
I just started re-wearing them. Yeah, and it's been like
I
two
don't
years probably.
I don't blame you. Don't blame
Right,
you at
right,
all after
right.
going through all that. While it was
Oh
fun,
yeah,
I imagine your feet after shooting those long days were probably, killing
my
you. So
bones, my little bones.
well, hey, just to kind of to wrap things up, is there anything else that you would like to say, just about working on Obliterated, working on, any of your other projects in general and just to the fans out there?
I just want to say that. Oh wow, this got me emotional. No, I just wanted to say that I'm very thankful, and I'm very thankful for the fans of both shows that I have met, and their kindness towards me. It truly has been life changing to feel a part of something, because I always felt pretty outcast when I was a kid. Um, so to feel welcomed in a community is really really special, and I just wanted to say that I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, I mean, the people that you meet, we were talking about it before, just going to these conventions, the people that you meet
Oh
at
yeah,
these conventions are some of the nicest, like nicest people that
amazing.
that you can meet. And I mean, like I told you, meeting you at it was like the second con and getting that, the
Yeah.
picture with you and everything. It's like always be a big, fan of yours like going forward because just
Oh,
that
thank
that
you,
little
Pat.
moment, sticks out to me. So I really appreciate that. And
Well, thank you so much.
yeah, yeah, no, of course. Do you, as far as just like, I don't know if you can say anything as far as like future projects, but is there anything coming out like in the remote future that you can say anything about or?
Right now I'm working on some music, and I'm pitching two TV shows
Cool.
as writer creator. Um, and just auditioning. Nothing that so far in terms of like that you can watch anytime soon. I'm really working on those three things: the music, the both pitches, and auditioning right now, and maybe doing a play soon in New York,
So you're
acting in a play.
you're pretty busy.
Yeah, I try to stay busy. I try to stay busy. Weightlifting too, which has been really therapeutic, which is awesome.
Yep.
I recommend to anyone who can do it, who's physically able to do that, is has been life changing. But yeah, I've been just working on myself and all those little projects here and there.
And everyone can stay up to, I know you're on Instagram, so
Yes.
and it is as far as your handle, because I'll put it down below in the description. What's your handle for people if they're, to follow you?
It's Paola underscore Lazaro.
Lazaro. Okay,
There's a lot of
perfect.
Paola Lazaros in Mexico and Colombia and stuff like that. Who would
So
have thunk?
you gotta get
Would have
creative
thunk
with
it.
the name.
I know. I just put the little two little underscores. But yeah, that's my handle on everything pretty much. TikTok and X. Sorry,
Oh yeah,
Twitter. Come on,
yeah,
let's
AKA
stop playing
Twitter.
games. It's
Yeah,
so ridiculous.
yeah,
By the way, X is still twitter.com online.
yeah. Which is it's kind of funny.
It's embarrassing. I feel embarrassed for
I don't. I said
the
that's the. I
company.
don't use that one as. I pretty much like I'm like Instagram and like Facebook. So I don't.
I don't love Twitter. I don't love Twitter. Very mean. Very mean people on
Yeah, yeah.
Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
You definitely gotta. You
very
gotta.
unattractive.
If you're on there, you gotta have thick skin because I mean, there's just
Mm.
yeah. I mean, the internet.
But like mean
Internet in general.
unnecessarily, where you're like, oh please go
Yeah,
find people to talk to in real life. You
I
know, you
don't.
don't
Yeah,
have to be mean.
I don't get that. It's like yeah, we don't
Yeah,
like you. You're putting all this negative energy out there when you could be doing, so many other things.
but
With
it's so wild because even before I was on any TV show, I have literally never commented on anybody's thing something negative.
yeah,
Never, never. It
yeah,
just hasn't even crossed my mind to be like, you suck, like, you should be dead. Like, it just never even like crossed my mind to do something like that. Even if I don't like something,
yeah,
I'm like, who cares that I don't like it? Like, why am
yeah,
I gonna go out of my way and be like, this is terrible, you should do better, or like whatever? Like, never have. So I'm
yeah.
like
It's just
always shocked when people are like, so the audacity of being like, and sometimes people say some really mean stuff, and I'm
oh yeah,
like, would you say that if that person was in front of you? I'm pretty sure
probably
you
not.
would not.
Yeah.
Pretty sure you would be terrified to say that in front of somebody. So,
Oh yeah. A lot of people
anyway, we
feel.
went.
Yeah, we went down a rabbit hole. I'll say we
Yeah,
yeah,
I know,
we
I
can go
know.
on
We
that.
could talk about this for hours.
Yeah. But again, yeah, it just, thank you so much, for your time today, talking about the shows, just, getting to know you a little bit more as a person. It was wonderful. You are welcome
Absolutely.
back anytime in the future to talk about
Please,
any
please
of your
have me
other
back.
projects. And yeah, again, just thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely, Pat. Hi, everybody. This is Paola Lázaro. I play Gomez on Obliterated and Princess on The Walking Dead, and you are watching Pop Culture with Pat.